Welcome to another episode of the Fund Your Damn Life podcast. If things sound a little bit different, if you're watching it, it looks a little bit different, that's because I'm actually on my little MacBook Air. I'm downstairs, and when just inspiration hits, I was kind of yapping into ChatGPT to get it to formulate my thoughts into coherent sentences so I could post something on Instagram. And I was like, hold up a second, why am I yapping into ChatGPT when this would be a fucking fantastic podcast episode? So here we go. Today's been a really heavy client call day, and it has been so interesting because there has been a specific money belief that has come up again and again and again. And I cannot wait to have my next call in half an hour's time when this belief is probably going to come up again. So let's get into it. Have you ever told yourself or heard this narrative of, I struggle to hold on to money? Okay, this is a phrase that I feel has been thrown around a lot. I didn't particularly hear about it. I feel like I didn't hear this phrase when I was starting out. I feel like in the last couple of years, maybe this has become more and more of a thing of like this idea of like, you need to feel safe to hold on to money. Like what? Okay. There's so many angles I can go with this one as to why I think this notion of I should be able to hold on to money is problematic. Number one, this notion of holding on to money is so rooted in scarcity. That's such scarcity thinking. This idea that you have to hold on to money, you have to hoard money because it's somehow going to get away from you. I think it comes from this idea of like, if you save money, you are good at money. If you spend money, you are bad at money, which in itself doesn't make sense because money is a flow, right? Money comes in, money goes out. The idea is that we use money, it's a transaction, right? We literally have to use money, okay? You can't hoard money. You have to use it, okay? And the amount of which you use it determines the lifestyle that you have. And the intention behind how you use it determines whether or not you kind of live joyfully, would be how I see it. So, this idea that I have to hold on to money is around saving, which I totally get. But these people and the people that I'm hearing saying this around being able to hold money is they'll say things like, when I have a really clear savings goal, like when I have to save for something, I'll do it. But when there's no goal, I just spend the money. And I'm like, yes, that is the very idea. That is money. That is money. And like that's the whole purpose, is that you have this savings goal and you save money to hit the goal, and then you've hit the goal. So you don't need to save the money anymore. Okay? And I think this is where it's the lack of intention. Let's go with that. And my most hated question, I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before, is when people just ask me, how much should I be saving? How much should I be investing? How much should I be putting away for my future? How much should I save towards a house? Even down to how much should I save for tax? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Why would I know? It's your life, your goals, your lifestyle, right? If you wanna save for a house, okay, well go find out how much the house you want costs and find out how much your affordability is going to be for a mortgage, and therefore you'll know how much you need to save. How much should I save for tax? Well, go and work out how much, as a percentage of your income you had to pay for the last couple of years. Average it out. Or just, what is ask your accountant. Use the facts, use the data, use the information. Obviously, if you're not tracking your finances, then that's going to be a lot harder. When you have a goal, when you have a savings goal, that is usually because you've gone something like, I need to save X amount in X amount of time. And that is really, really clear, because that kind of boils down to how much you need to save per month. And when you have a plan like that, you can obviously save because you know where your money is going. Whereas when you don't have a clear plan, maybe you're saving £500 a month, but it isn't for a set thing, it's just, just in case. And you really struggle with that. And you keep dipping into it. And you tell yourself, well, clearly it's something with my nervous system or my mindset or trauma that I can't hold on to the money. It's not that that doesn't ever happen, but it's more likely that it's just because you don't have a clear goal and therefore you don't know what you're saving towards, and therefore there's no kind of end. There's no clear cut like I have done the thing, like I have achieved this. So I see this a lot with people that maybe have never had savings in their life. So they're not used to that. And that's valid. They're not used to kind of having savings, and they want to save for their first house because that's what everyone tells them that they should do. So they're not really following their own desire. They're following everyone else's desire, is kind of point number one to bring up. But point number two is because they've never experienced that amount of money in their life, which is, like I said, it's really, really normal. They don't believe they can do it. And this was my own experience. I didn't believe that I was ever going to save for a house. So I would save £200 every single month. I did for years. For years. There was a few good months here and there, don't get me wrong, where, I think over 6 years I managed to save 2 grand. £2,000 divided by 200. So for 10 months over 6 years, I managed to save and not dip into it. That is mental. And that is purely because I didn't believe I could achieve it. So if I didn't believe I was going to achieve that goal, of course I wasn't going to save for it. So I want you to think about this narrative of I can't hold on to money and really question what it is. Is it that you don't believe in your ability to hit a certain goal? Okay, that's an evidence based thing, right? And with that I'd say, okay, well let's start small, let's break it down, let's get really clear on the goal, but also let's break it down into different steps. You can get some quick wins in there and kind of just see them compound. Or is it that you just believe everyone else is just saving money just for no reason? Everyone else just has money left over and they are inherently good because they have money left over. Is that what you believe? If so, then for that person, I would be questioning where that belief comes from, what you believe about people who do or don't have this type of saving, and what it means. Yeah, what it means for them that they aren't saving. Because when I work with people, we create a spending plan, which is essentially we're looking at the money that's coming in. So if you're a business owner, it's likely we've worked on how much your business can afford you. We've calculated that based on what you need and also what you want if you are able to pay yourself more than what you need. And so we've got this income coming in and we're looking at where it's going in the month. And obviously you've got your bills and subscriptions, you've got things like groceries and fuel and those kind of necessary spends that have to come out. And then there's some joyful spending. And what will happen is people see that joyful spending as the kind of like what's left, right? And then what will happen is they get to the end of the month and they feel bad. And I ask them to tell me, why do you feel like you haven't succeeded? Because I'm seeing is a success. Like you have not spent over, like you've not spent more than you had in, and you've not had to dip into savings or dip into the business. And in fact, you gained savings, like you have saved money. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess, but I don't have any money left. It's like, it's, a day before payday and I've got no money in my account. I'm like, well, okay. Do you have anything to do today? Like, were you meant to have money today? Or is it just that, it resets tomorrow and you've done everything you wanted to do this month? Like, your money has done the job it was meant to. And I think that is such a reframe of knowing that actually your money is just doing a job. And you have to tell it what to do. And if you're not telling it what to do and you're just expecting there to be money left over, I'm really sorry, but there's not going to be. Okay, and this is what has come up a lot today, is this idea of container theory. And this, we see it a lot. Obviously, I moved from like a small 2-bedroom flat into a 3-bedroom house, and now I've got no room. However much room you have, you will fill it. That's container theory. I see it with money in two ways. One is however much money you have, you will spend. And secondly, however much money you need to make, you will make. Okay, so those two things. Now, obviously, the need to make thing that comes down to leveraging scarcity and a level of security in your body, and you will show up and do the things to be able to get you to that point. And that becomes an issue when we're trying to kind of increase our income. Okay, but we're not looking at that. What we're looking at is, oh my god, my brain has just absolutely melted. Stand by. We're looking at this idea that however much money you have, you will spend. Okay? Container theory, psychology, science, right? So we need to be really intentional. We need to plan. We just need to if we know our money is going to go, we need to tell it where to go. That is as simple as it needs to be. That is money. Like, if I could, like, I'm going to write a book. It's going to call "This Is Money," and on the first page, it's just going to say, "Money will come in and out. You just need to tell it where to go, and it will go there." That's it. And obviously, there's nuances, and I want to do all the things, and the prioritizing, and making the most of your money, and maximizing your money, and bringing in more. Of course, there's all of those things. Like, that is financial strategy. There's so much around there. And of course, we have these beliefs around our ability to make money, manage money, save money. But I think the holding money thing really, it's saving, isn't it? It's saving money. But I want to question your belief around savings and what you believe savings are or should be. And if you believe that there should be a certain amount of savings, why? Where has that come from? I don't know if I have anything else to say on the subject, but I guess summarizing my key points, which is that however much money comes in will go back out. We live in a capitalist consumerist society. Solutions to all your problems cost money. Okay? The answers to all your desires cost money, and that's fine. That's fine. That is what it is. Money is there to be transacted. It is there to flow in and out of your hands into someone else's, out of someone else's hands into your hands. That's what happens. So how can we make sure that the money we have, it is going out in a way that makes us feel good? And that is simply having a plan for it. It is okay to spend money unapologetically. It is okay to not have savings or not be currently saving. Yes, it is beneficial to have a certain layer of saving, emergency fund, buffer, breathing fund, whatever you want to call it. Of course, it makes sense. That is a savings goal, though. Set a clear goal, save towards it. Once you have saved that, if you have nothing else you're meant to be saving for, like nothing, like you kind of like, I've done all the things that I want to do at the moment, you can spend it all. Pay your bills, spend the rest. Have fun. Money is there for you to have fun with, okay? So I don't want you to feel bad that you're not hoarding money. I want you to feel good that you are using money in a way that brings you joy. Okay. So that was my rant. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions as well, please do feel free to come into my DMs, because I understand that obviously there's a lot of nuances around money, and I help clients with this every day, but I just find it so interesting the way this has been worded and how often I'm seeing it come up now. You need to feel safe to hold on to money. That's my biggest question. Anyway, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.